People of the Purple Butterfly here, otherwise known as People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com, and my soaps, Purple Butterfly soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. And the tablet ran out of memory, so I'm using the phone, and I just built soap on it, so yeah. In the meantime, there's my Helix swirl and the little butterfly. And that's what we're doing now. So, let's set this up where you can see. And is it recording? Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, bad move. I already got that in my mouth, so let's not have it in my eyes. This is not going to be a large black chicken ABS, but big enough. And since I had already brought a batch to trace when I made the Helix swirl, and this is just the leftover that I'm doing, it's going to cook faster because it's already going to be at a thick trace when I start. And for Allison, who is making her very first ABS or hot process soap of any kind for that matter, in the next day or two, I just want to let you know that a thicker trace is better, but by the same token, you're not going to be able to see that. You don't want to continue stick blending once it reaches a thick trace. Instead, when it reaches this stage, hold on, that's when you're going to switch to a spatula, stir it down, scrape out the edges all the way down, and then after you scrape it and scrape it and scrape it, slam it down, get most of it to the center if you can. Slam it down towards the center. Now you're going to just take your top. It's starting on high heat. Top's on. It's going to low heat now. And that gives me, about an hour. I'm going to let it cook until it starts to do the fold over, and I'll be back. Stay blessed. This has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com, and my soaps, Purple Butterfly soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. Y'all stay blessed and stay tuned. Bye now. I gotta go get some vinegar. Yep. Let me move this out the way. And I brought some fresh plantains. This was 2 plantains that I had prepared. I just sent them through the blender. Well, actually, they've been sitting in here for a while because they have to have time to settle. But look at her. 2 plantains that was dehydrated and baked and all that, and it made just a little teeny, not enough. But this not enough is going in here with this not enough. Never notice plantains in this state? Smells almost like ground coffee, but it isn't. I wouldn't drink it. Anyway, that's starting to reach mashed potato stage. The rest, I'll scrape that out and let it settle later. But in the meantime, one of the reasons I have this mat here like this is because when I have several things going on at one time, I can move the entire thing over to the curing rack. I'll be right back. So do that. Go on this side. Right. The main rack already has something curing on it. Somehow I did an absolutely flat surface. I couldn't put the main rack. I couldn't put the new soap where the main rack was because it's partially cured and already solid, and the soap I just made has to be absolutely solid, and we can't do so on the flat surface on which I had, which was not absolutely flat. And then, of course, here we have some more coconut oil. It's always a good thing to have extra coconut oil. Yep. Now, let's show you what we got here. There it is. And then here's our fresh infusion. And now we're going to find some kind of way to stand this up where you can see everything that you need to see. So I'm thinking we'll do it this way. It's not quite a tripod, but it'll work. There we go. Because I am cooking it in that pot right there. Now, we needed to find a skewer. I have many bamboo sticks. And then we're going to stir the infusion in with the oils that are already in here. So now it looks almost like mud. And there's already some nibs in there. There's already some cocoa butter in there. And let's see. Oh, and keep these. If you have these, keep them. And then when you make some more plantain powder or whatever, you can store it in there. When you make some more nibs or cocoa powder, you can store it in there. Any small amount of powder, you can store in there. Because I took mine, and I actually have an old-fashioned mortar pestle type thing. I bought it at a eBay auction. Thought it was real cute. Couldn't find that, so I used this to make my infusion. I already had the oil in here, and then I was able to just, crunch it up and then blend the two together and then stick it through the blender. Well, this time I just took the extra through the blender. Now, because we are at a certain stage in this process, you can see it rising. Well, maybe you can't see it rising, because I put stuff right in your way. I'm sorry, I do stuff like that. But anyway, let's get my bearings. You see how it's lifting up on one side and a little more, starting to bubble. And actually, that's bubbling a little bit too fast. So before we have another volcano, which everybody seems to think is so fun, but only the people that think it's fun are the people that don't have to clean up the volcano. So, yeah, that's what I think about that. And because a little teeny bit of this is still left on here, we're just going to go ahead and stick it through the edges, because then it can help it cook. Oh, it's at the stiff stage. Okay. I try to tell you about the stiff stage. See that? It's literally low. But if you keep stirring, there's going to be a little bit of gold in here from that little bit of mica that was on this spoon. And stirring. Mash yourself some air holes when you get to this stage. That will keep it from volcanoing, because there won't be anything that will make a pocket that goes, and then that causes it to blow its darn stack right in your face, right over the edge, all over the place. And see, this is a very small batch. So because of the size of my crock pot, I don't have to worry about a volcano, even if it went as high up as it can go, which is usually 2.5 of the volume. In other words, it doubled and then it went a little extra. Well, this is more than that amount for the volume, so I don't have to worry about a volcano. But I still like to take every precaution, because a couple of times I said that and I still had a volcano. So I'm going to let that cook down, and you could actually see it doing a little bit of gelling on the sides. See that? That's the part we just did. You could tell the part I stirred is white and the other part is a lighter, gooier consistency. When it does another flip over or fold over, when it's completely gelled, I'll bring you back and show you that, because that's the time we're going to add all these wonderful additives like the plantains and the nibs and the cocoa butter. I have another thing of this, like the cocoa butter, that's just going to literally melt right on in once it's completely solidified. That way it's automatically super fatting. I have it in there. So this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube. People elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com, and my soaps, Purple Butterfly Soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. And this is for Allie, and it's going to be on my playlist. Hey Allie, look! Bye now. 4 minutes. And let's see what we got now. As you can tell, well, first let me make sure I'm in the camera. It's doing the second fold over. And I have here a litmus strip that has a little bit of water on it. Let's just go ahead and put this right here where you can see, in case I need to use my hands for, say, catching volcanoes. Make sure you can see. and I'm just gonna just right over the top of it. Zigzagging motion. And then I'm going to find my spatula. I don't know what I did with it, because that is testing green. As you can tell, well, what little bit is actually touching. But let's get the sides too. Now, the little teeny piece of soap that did lift up, I'm going to rub that in, because the litmus strip needs the actual contact with the substance. And as you can tell, that's in the green zone. I'm going to just put that right there so I can see it. And maybe you can too. Now we need the spatula because it's folding over, which means it's time to add the fun. So that took a little more than an hour. There's a water puddle down here. Oh. Apparently I kicked over some of my distilled water. That explains why it's cold. Ah, right in front of my face. You know, if that was a dog, it would have bit me. Now, because that's completely cooked, and this might not necessarily be completely cooked, we're going to take a paper towel. I just knocked over my gloves. I have a whole bunch of gloves. Some are all purple, and some are blue, and some are clear. Because different people donated me different gloves at the same time. So we're just going to clean all that off. Well, when you get a chance, coat your entire or cover your entire workstation with either paper or press and seal or plastic. That way, when you do stuff like this and it makes a mess, which it sometimes will, or if you have a volcano, or if you spill your mica all across tarnation, you could just fold that up, ball it up, toss it on in the trash, and start over. Now, ooh, it's doing that bubble up effect. And we're past Vaseline stage. Yeah, look at that. That is officially soap. But the main way I test it, it's going to sound real silly, but it works. I smell it. Nothing on the planet smells quite like unscented, fresh soap. I mean, nothing on the whole planet has that smell. If it had active lye in it, you would see me make a really, really odd face. That odd face would be from the smell of the lye. Not quite the ammonia smell, but if you've ever smelled your lye water after it just completely got mixed into your soap and blended right before that, right after the fumes go away, but right before the fragrance oils go in, it's not a pleasant scent. But once the saponification takes effect, or in this case is cooked completely out, it leaves that fresh soap scent. That's the only way to describe it. During this process, Miss Allison, when you get to the Vaseline stage, take a whiff. It won't sting your nose, and it won't smell like lye. It'll smell basically like soap. That's the only way to describe it. I don't know if you've ever been to like a soap factory. We have P&G in this city, which is Procter and Gamble. And when you're driving past there through the Ivydale portion of the city, there's this really unpleasant smell in the air. That's the lye from, being in the air when they're making like ivory and Tide and all that. Well, when it starts smelling this way, that's when there's no lye in it and you're just left with that fresh soap scent. That is a nice scent. There are times I want to leave my unscented soap smelling just like that, but that scent goes away the moment the soap cools down, so it's like an elusive animal, basically. Now, I see all Vaseline. Let's see if I can catch this at a good angle for you. And yep, it has a sizzle. Now I'm going to take the other edge of this card, litmus strip rather. I am still having that aphasia type problem. So some of my words are not coming out right. I'm just going to go ahead and give that a test. That is completely safe. Yep. So that means we're going to take the black for the black soap, the plantains, the cocoa butter, the nibs, all that. And I have a whole cup worth. The recipe that most people use, of course, that's a 12-ounce recipe or 16-ounce soap. It'll say 1 ounce of this and 1 ounce of that and 1.2 ounces of the other. And that's fine if you are making a small batch, but this is basically a 2-pound batch. So putting the total of 2 ounces of black soap infusion in here is just not enough. So I used a whole cup. That's 8 ounces. You can't have too much of this stuff, but you certainly can have too little. And as you can tell, there's a couple of white patches in there. We want to stir all that completely out so that way all you see is the black of the black soap. And then I'm going to put this on for another 30 minutes. And it'll be completely mellow, amalgamated, mixed, emulsified, blended. All those words that add up to mean what it is I'm trying to say that I'm not getting out my mouth properly. I know what I mean, I'm just not saying it right. Yeah. So, take all those words, put them together, and you'll get what I'm trying to say. Oh, I'm also going to put this in the cup and swirl it around so we get all those little bits that didn't come out of there. And then if it doesn't come out, whatever's left at the bottom of this cup, I could just stick soap brush in there and wash my face with it. Or wash coffee. And that's what I have left. In other words, nothing. Because it's all in here. Smelling earthy like black soap. Because guess what? This is black soap, y'all. Yeah. It's only a couple of little speckles of white. And that's fine. Because after the cook, those will all go away too. Scrape this down very, very good. I was worried about the noise level, like, oh, I don't want to wake up mom while I'm doing this. And come to find out, she's not even here. I like when that happens, because that means I now have the house to myself. Take a bubble bath if I want to, or I could do what I usually do and make some soap. Record the making of the soap and the slamming of the soap, and not have anybody going, "What you doing up there? Making soap?" It's like, well, yeah, that's the only time you hear me slamming stuff is when I'm making soap. Oh, well, you surprised me. Really? Now, she already knows if I'm awake and I didn't have too much of a pain-filled day, or if I'm awake and nothing is hurting too much, because the pain never fully goes away, I'm going to make some soap. As long as I can stand up, I can make some soap. And in my soap lab, I ought to give y'all a tour, because the last time I tried it, it was a really dark video, but I ought to get a bunch of lights up here and give you a tour of this place. I have a really, really nice rocking chair. So, because I figure if I'm going to make hot process soap, a lot of times that's hurry up and wait, which means you need a TV or a radio or your videos. I usually set up my tablet right here and watch other soaping videos. And then, guess what? I have a seat. I don't just stand up and, because hot process soap can take more than an hour. Depending on what recipe, it could take a couple of hours. One recipe I know of takes almost a whole day of cooking. Look back at some of, what's her name? Kimberly at Essential Soaps. Some of her videos take the whole 6, 7, 8 hours. She'll go away, then she'll come back and cook it some more, so forth and so on. I don't have time for all that. I want to make the soap, especially if it's hot process soap, mold the soap, cut the soap, use the soap. Anyway, this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com. My soaps, Purple Butterfly Soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. And this is Making Black Soap with Allie. Yay! It's her first soap. I'm trying to help her out as best as I can. Y'all stay blessed and stay tuned. Bye now. Yes. And I took this time to line a mold. I took a little bit of it and smeared it on the inside. Used that to put it with some soap. Well, put it with some water and take this soap downstairs and wash my face with it. I did a pH test. Well, first I washed my hands with the pH strips. And since it was deemed to be safe, and in the mild zone, I went ahead and washed this side of my face. And now I need to go wash the other side of my face because it feels amazing. And this is before you even do the 2-week cure process. Smells nice and earthy. Wonderful. Black soap is the only soap that has that fresh soap scent with a couple of other elements that's from the plantains and the cocoa nibs and all that. And it's almost completely black now. Black soap technically isn't black. It's like a brown, and it could be anywhere from a light brown to a deep brown. And as time goes past, it actually lightens back up. So the brown you see now might not be the brown it stays, but as exposed to air and oxygen and all that, it actually does get darker over time. So when somebody tells you they have black soap and it's jet black like they used the mica, ask them what they made it with. And if they tell you charcoal or mica or, well, I don't know what's in it, don't trust it. Because I can tell you exactly what's in black soap. And one person, I was about to buy some from them because they told me they could make it without shea butter. Shea is regional, so it's not, necessary for authentic black soap, but it's also a tree nut. And if you're one of the people that's allergic to tree nuts like myself, shea is a bad thing. So I use other things in my black soap that is regional. And since my region is the United States, if I put cocoa butter in there, it's still regional to me. If I put coconut oil, if I put Crisco oil, it's still regional to me. But I tend to go for a more traditional thing. So I use cocoa butter, palm oil, basically all natural. I try to keep it vegan when it's black soap, but it's not going to have shea butter in it. I can refer you to people that do shea butter, but I'm not one of them.